Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back, and if you are new, thanks for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. It's the last day of the year, and we are at the time of year when the videos I enjoy the most, both to watch and to film, are coming out. Everyone's best books of the year, top books of the year, and today I'm going to take a look back and share all of the books that I read in 2021 in anticipation of my top 10 reads for tomorrow, which will be coming out January 1st. I read 174 books this year, which is an insane number of books for me. So I'm going to share some stats and then all of the titles I read so that you can see if you read any of the same books and see if we have, any common favorites. I'm not going to talk about the books. I already did that in my wrap-up videos, so please check those out if you are interested in learning more about any of these books. I will leave a link to the playlist in the description box below. First, I'm going to share a few stats. Of the 174 books I read, there were 114 different authors. Now, some of my stats are skewed because of the amount of Margaret Atwood books that I read. So because of the Mondays with Margaret series and that project, there is a higher percent of books by white Canadian authors than there normally would be. Hopefully next year my diversity stats will be a little bit better. So my stats this year, 57% of the authors I read were female, 42% were male, and 1% non-binary. Now I realize that this is probably not accurate, as I don't know for a fact how every single author identifies, but I'm going with the information that I do know. Same is true for these next stats, as I'm only going on what I know. 19% of the authors I read are Black or people of color. 8% are Indigenous, and 8% identify as LGBTQIA2S+. Of the books I read, 73% were fiction, 15% nonfiction, and 12% poetry. And the most diversity will be shown in the countries represented. The authors I read represent 21 different countries. No surprise that 39%, the highest percent, are Canadian authors. Coming in second at 31% are American authors. Third are British authors at 8%, followed by Australia at 3%. Other countries represented are Barbados, the Netherlands, India, Ireland, Japan, Russia, Rwanda, Scotland, South Korea, Sweden, Vietnam, Nigeria, China, Egypt, Germany, Brazil, and Palestine. Now onto the books I read. These are in the order that I read them. Okay, here we go. Survival by Margaret Atwood. The Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner. You Are Happy by Margaret Atwood. Lady Oracle by Margaret Atwood. Lake Redstone by J.D. Hollyfield. Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stewart. Dancing Girls and Other Stories by Margaret Atwood. This Tender Land by William Kent Kruger. Selected Poems 1965 to 1975 by Margaret Atwood. Hench by Natalie Zena Walshot. Two Trees Make a Forest. Travels Among Taiwan's Mountains and Coasts in Search of My Family's Past by Jessica J. Lee. Days of the Rebels 1815 to 1840 by Margaret Atwood. Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead. Your Story, My Story by Connie Pullman. The Book Charmer by Karen Hawkins. Anne of the Island by L.M. Montgomery. Talking Animals by Joni Murphy. Two-Headed Poems by Margaret Atwood. The Push by Ashley Audrain. The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk. Life Before Man by Margaret Atwood. Calypso by David Sedaris. Up in the Tree by Margaret Atwood. Anna's Pet by Margaret Atwood. For the Birds by Margaret Atwood. Butter Honey Pig Bread by Francesca Equiasi. Gutter Child by J.L. Richardson. Hear the Dark, a novella and stories by David Bergen. Winter by Ali Smith. The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga, Bodily Harm by Margaret Atwood, The Deal of a Lifetime and Other Stories by Frederick Backman, Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna, True Stories by Margaret Atwood, 21 Things You May Not Know About the Indian Act, Helping Canadians Make Reconciliation with Indigenous Peoples a Reality by Bob Joseph, The Wild Truth by Corinne McCandless, Second Words, Selected Critical Prose from 1960 to 1982 by Margaret Atwood, Swimming Lessons by Claire Fuller, The Harpy by Megan Hunter, The Twits by Roald Dahl, The Mountains Sing by Win Fan Kwei Mei, Murder in the Dark by Margaret Atwood, Highway of Tears, A True Story of Racism, Indifference, and the Pursuit of Justice for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls by Jessica McDermott, Girls with Bright Futures by Tracy Dobmeyer and Wendy Katzman, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, The Moment of Lift by Melinda Gates, Bluebeard's Egg by Margaret Atwood, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy, Spring by Allie Smith, How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House by Sherry Jones, Interlunar by Margaret Atwood, You Are Eating an Orange, You Are Naked by Sheng King, Good Company by Cynthia Dupree Sweeney, Life and Death in Niamata by Omar Ndizeye, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, Footlights by Pearl Peary, 77 Fragments of a Familiar Ruin by Thomas King, Grief and Loss and Love and Sex by Laura Margaret Margerison, Selected Poems 2, 1976-1986 by Margaret Atwood, Love Her Wild by Atticus, The Essential Earl Burney by Earl Burney, Dear Sir, I Intend to Burn Your Book, An Anatomy of a Book Burning by Lawrence Hill, I Feel Bad About My Neck and Other Thoughts on Being a Woman by Nora Ephron, Depression and Other Magic Tricks by Sabrina Benaim, It Begins with the Body by Hannah Shafi, The Inconvenient Indian, A Curious Account of Native People in North America by Thomas King, Red Obsidian, New and Selected Poems by Stephen Torr, Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood, Small Silent Things by Robin Page, Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, A Thousand Hills, Rwanda's Rebirth and the Man Who Dreamed It by Stephen Kinzer, Wilderness Tips by Margaret Atwood, Good Bones by Margaret Atwood, Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon, The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, We Dream Medicine Dreams by Lisa Boyven, The Willow Wren by Philip Schott, The Robber Bride by Margaret Atwood, Tatooine by Jean-Christophe Réal, The Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie, Morning in the Burned House by Margaret Atwood, Strange Things by Margaret Atwood, Princess Prunella and the Purple Peanut by Margaret Atwood, A Trio of Tolerable Tales by Margaret Atwood, Untraceable by Sergei Lebedev, Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood, Membering by Austin Clarke, The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood, One Brother Shy by Terry Follis, Nupaming, The Cure for White Ladies by Leanne Samasake Simpson, On Writers and Writing by Margaret Atwood, Searching for Marilyn Monroe, Parables and Other Animals by Pei Vio, Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood, Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell, Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, Stories to Tell, a Memoir by Richard Marx, Beach Read by Emily Henry, It Is Wood, It Is Stone by Gabriella Burnham, Fight Night by Miriam Taves, Small, Broke, and Kind of Dirty, Affirmations for the Real World by Hannah Shafi, The Western Alienation Merit Badge by Nancy Jo Cullen, Not My Father's Son by Alan Cumming, Summer by Allie Smith, Half Spent Was the Night, A Witch's Yuletide by Amy McKay, Deacon King Kong by James McBride, Tilly and the Crazy Eights by Monique Gray Smith, The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead, Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, A Town Called Solace by Mary Lawson, I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid, Moving Targets, Writing with Intent, 1982 to 2004 by Margaret Atwood, Swimming Back to Trout River by Linda Rui Feng, Bottle by Margaret Atwood, A Woman is No Man by Etaf Rum, Breath, The New Science of a Lost Art by James Nestor, Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey, The Listeners by Jordan Tannehill, 12 Sharp by Janet Ivanovich, The Penelopiad, The Myth of Penelope and Odysseus by Margaret Atwood, When the Apricots Bloom by Gina Wilkinson, Plum Lovin' by Janet Ivanovich, Curious Pursuits, Occasional Writing 1970 to 2005 by Margaret Atwood, Plum Lucky by Janet Ivanovich, Lean Mean 13 by Janet Ivanovich, See What I Have Done by Sarah Schmidt, Salem's Lot by Stephen King, This Little Light by Laurie Lansons, The Ghost in the House by Sarah O'Leary, 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty, Face, a poetry and art collection by Randina Sheldon, The High Road by Terry Follis, Tuscan Daughter by Lisa Rochon, The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams, The Tent by Margaret Atwood, All Girls by Emily Layden, What Strange Paradise by Omar El Akkad, Please Look After Mum by Shin Kyung-suk, Operation Angus by Terry Follis, Normal People by Sally Rooney, How the Penguin Saved Veronica by Hazel Pryor, Moral Disorder and Other Stories by Margaret Atwood, The Strangers by Katarina Vermette, 3 Women by Lisa Taddeo, Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel, Ordinary Grace by William Kent Kruger, The Door by Margaret Atwood, Find You First by Linwood Barclay, Later by Stephen King, Payback, Debt, and the Shadow Side of Wealth by Margaret Atwood, Every Good Boy Does Fine, Poetry and Prose by Calvin Arsenia, Golden Boy, A Murder Among the Manhattan Elite by John Glatt, The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, The Year of the Flood by Margaret Atwood, The Apollo Murders by Chris Hadfield, Life in the City of Dirty Water by Clayton Thomas Mueller, Remember by Lisa Genova, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, In Other Worlds, SF and the Human Imagination by Margaret Atwood, The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary, Mad Adam by Margaret Atwood, Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel, Ghost Forest by Pik Shuen Fung, Stone Mattress by Margaret Atwood, The Music of Bees by Eileen Garvin, Virgin River by Robin Carr, The Heart Goes Last by Margaret Atwood, Hagseed by Margaret Atwood, War Bears by Margaret Atwood, October Jones, The Lightning Pines Mystery by J.D. McFerrin, The Testaments by Margaret Atwood, Dearly by Margaret Atwood, Notes on Grief by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Field Study, Meditations on a Year at the Herbarium by Helen Humphreys. If you are still with me, thanks for hanging in there. Please let me know if you have read any of these books, or if there are books that you are interested in or that you have on your TBR for next year. Are there any that you are hoping will make my top 10 list for 2021? Find out what does make the top 10 of the year tomorrow. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. It's been a fantastic reading year, and I am so grateful for everyone in the BookTube community. BookTube would not be the same without subscribers, commenters, and other booktubers. I know that my reading life has definitely been enriched by all of you, and I'm really looking forward to another year of book and reading adventures. Happy New Year, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.